Advantages of raising bilingual children. In the last couple of years, it has become the thing to do to teach children a second language. However, it had not always been like that. Prior to that, they believed that children who were taught a second language would have a negative impact in their cognitive development. Bilingualism first surfaced in the early 1900s when the first wave of immigrant children started attending school. These children were tested against monolingual children, and for some reason they always scored lower. However, what they did not know back then was that these children came from a different social economic status. It was in the 1960s when researchers took this into consideration and started testing children that were in the same social economic status, and realized that being bilingual actually had it was good for your cognitive development. Two of the areas that showed a great improvement were the metalinguistic skills and the problem solving in children. Metalinguistic skills is a mouthful of a term that Kakuta described it back in 1986. He actually says that metalinguistic ability is a term that refers to the ability to think flexibly and abstractly about language. In children, this can be seen in the ability to make judgment about the grammar of sentence and to appreciate plays on words and in jokes. Monolingual children and bilingual children have metalinguistic abilities. However, the bilingual children have the capacity to regulate the process more efficiently because they always have to deal with the two languages. Research shows that monolingual children have demonstrated the ability to read earlier than bilingual children. However, bilingual children have demonstrated that they tend to grab the basics of reading faster than monolingual children. Another great advantage of bilingual children is the fact that they can transfer the knowledge they have from one language to the other language. Another aspect of metalinguistic skills is the ability to translate. Children have shown that they can translate as early as 2 years old. However, in 1981, Centella tested children in 4th and 5th grade who were able to translate, and he noticed that the children were making mistakes. They thought it was because of language confusion, but then they really noticed that it's something called code switching. Code switching is the ability for bilingual children and adults to borrow words from one language to the other to get their point more clear across. In conclusion, Myers mentions that bilinguals also have a greater awareness of meaning and structure in language because they have two languages from which they can draw generalization about the characteristics in language instead of one. Once a child learns a second language, it is much easier to learn a third, a fourth, and a fifth. Bilingual children are also very good at problem solving. They first noticed this because bilingual children have the ability to create strategies in their mind to keep the two languages separately. They also have great ability to think creatively, and they can process two concepts at the same time and create relationships, of course. Myers realized, or actually she was the one who brought it up, that bilingual children have the ability to look at a problem and look at the whole picture. They see all the solutions, but for some reason they know that the first solution is not always the right solution. Another thing that's been noticed about bilingual children, because they're so attentive to cues around them, they have great attention spans, creating them great multitaskers and of course problem solvers. Diaz mentions that bilingualism accelerates the development of conceptual reasoning by releasing the child from mind concreteness. That makes them also a great problem solver. Another assumption that they had about bilingual children is that for some reason a bilingual child has the ability to know what language to use depending the person they're encountering. This gives this gives bilingual children an advantage over monolingual children because they can sort out problems of intention and perspective. Raising bilingual children in today's society is the thing to do. It's a great asset for them. They can develop better in different cultures. they can cope easier to change and be more open-minded to different scenarios. I know it's a lot of information, so I created this drawing showing the advantages of the metabolistic skills. So a bilingual child, for instance, under the metabolistic skills is better in thinking flexible, regulating mental process, has the ability to learn other language at a faster rate, can transfer the knowledge from one language to the other one. They catch the basics of reading at a faster pace, and they have the ability to translate at a very young age. The advantage of problem solving between bilingual and monolingual children. Bilingual children have the ability to think creatively and process different concepts, creating a relationship between them. They have the ability to analyze the whole picture. They're attentive to cues around them. They are great at multitasking, and they have an attention control. Any questions?
Yes, you're only talking about the advantages. What about the disadvantages?
There are some disadvantages of bilingual children. Like I mentioned, they may not read as fast as monolingual children, but in the long term, all the research has shown that bilingual children are much better. It's long-term gains, and they eventually meet the same milestones in monolingual child.